You're listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZWLP Conroe and 106.1 KZCCLP Conroe and worldwide on irlonestar.com.
And good afternoon. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez, and welcome to the Hispanic Chamber Connection Radio Show, a radio program designed for the members of the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. You might recognize it as the Woodlands-Conroe Hispanic Chamber, or the Vintage Park, or the Katy, or the Galleria, or the Lake Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I think there's 5 Hispanic chambers now. As we've grown throughout time, we have about 330 members, and we're all over the place right now. We're all over Houston, and we're as small as can be. Right now, the largest of our chambers is up here in the Woodlands-Conroe area, where we have about 250 members, and this is where it all started. So we expect tremendous growth for next year. And by the way, Merry Christmas, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. We have a special guest, someone who's been with the chamber since its very inception, and who actually was part of our original group of people who used to eat a lot of chicken wings or a lot of potato chips when we would have meetings and nobody would show up. Talking about Chris Way. Chris Way is with the Cook Insurance Group. Chris, thank you for being on the show.
Good morning, Dr. Carlos.
Thanks again for being here. I know how busy you are. You brought your daughter with you. I know that tis the season, but at the same time, is she not in school right now?
No, she's out of school till next week, next Wednesday. And so we're spending
9.
Yes, she's 9, so she still believes in Santa Claus.
Oh, that's actually one more year of that, you said?
Probably, yeah. Next year it's probably not gonna happen.
That'll change. And it's amazing. I mean, I'm sure it's amazing even for you. I mean, we'll talk about this more in a little bit, but it's amazing for you as a dad to have such a young child, and taking care of her and everything.
Yes, it is. It's quite an experience. I got started a little late in life, but she's been a joy, and watching her grow too fast, but grow up and experience some of the things that she can in this day and age.
And she's really your only one.
Yes, she is our one, and will be our only one.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well, that's amazing. We'll get back to that in just a second. I want to ask you a whole bunch of questions, Chris, but first I do want to share with you some things about the Chamber of Commerce. As you know, you don't have to be Hispanic to join, and I mean, you've been also very emblematic in that sense that people walk in and see you, and then they see me, and they say, okay, we're all the Hispanic people, and whatever. They ask questions, and you've always been the representative of, look, proof that you don't have to be Hispanic to join. And about 60%, it's about 60% now of our members are not Hispanic.
Well, yes, yeah, that's true. It's always been that way, and that's the way you designed it and what you wanted it to be. It was about small business,
right,
and small businesses across all cultural lines, and to be able to bring multiple cultures together and being able to network, to be able to increase their business, increase their profile, is truly a advantage of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce over other chambers of commerce.
That's a big deal.
And it's totally focused on small businesses and improving their business, their network, and being able to train and offer training that other chambers may or may not offer.
Well, actually, I have to tell you that they don't offer. Many of them don't. If there are any chambers of commerce that actually talk to their members about how they present themselves and about the sales process and about things like that, I'd like to know, because I want to copy what they're doing if they're doing it. Because to be honest with you, in the greater Houston area, there's about 40 chambers of commerce. So there's a lot of chambers of commerce, except that every one of them has a different sort of focus, a different worldview, and ours is certainly small business. And I think we stand true to the original premise that where it all started, hundreds of years ago, where businesses got together to network and to help each other and to protect each other. That's the original intent of a chamber of commerce. Even though now it's different from many others.
Yeah, in this day and age, obviously that has changed with the digital age and social networking and stuff, but the principle is still the same: helping small to medium-sized businesses get bigger, help protect them, help them, get access to each other, and that helps with the bigger your network is, the bigger resources you have, and hopefully the more business you can generate for yourself and for others.
We talked about that today. We had a meeting today. We have meetings every Tuesday here in the Woodlands in a place called Spring Creek Barbecue, which is right here in Shenandoah. And so we have the meeting there, lunch at 11:30, from 11:30 to 1 o'clock. And we get average about 40, 50 members show up to that meeting. today, of course, being the season that it is, and it's cold, and a lot of folks, a lot of our members are made of sugar, and it's raining, so they stay home, and that's fine. We had about 15 people here today at our meeting, and one of the most important questions I asked them, because I do this periodically, and I'm curbing it for next year because I've realized maybe it's not the right place, or some folks don't always understand the intention. But today I said, okay, for Christmas I'm going to ask everybody a big question and just see what the answer is. And I asked the question of, do you know what this person does? And so basically, whoever was there, I said, tell us what you do versus who you are and all that, And a lot of folks, even when you ask them, do you know what Chris Way does? For you, it'd be easy to understand what you do because you do commercial insurance, right? So you help people have insurance. They have insurance needs, they talk to you, etc. But a lot of our members have more obscure value propositions, just harder to understand. And to be able to extract that and help them verbalize it was today's meeting.
Well, it's good. Yeah, being able insurance, there's a lot of insurance agencies out there. We focus strictly on commercial, but yeah, you are correct. Everybody knows what insurance
Well, they
is.
should.
They should. That's correct. But and it's a Chamber of Commerce, or specifically the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, are real good ways for, I don't want to say obscure, but different types of businesses to get out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure.
And so they can explain themselves and what they can do and what they can offer either other businesses or other individuals. And that's really one of the biggest points or the biggest attributes to networking is you can explain what you do and who you specifically can help. And being able to find that niche that you can specifically help is going to make you that much, make you more successful that much quicker.
It was interesting. You're right, because one of our members that was there, I asked her, do you know this man over here? So we use names, just basically, do you know this guy over here? She goes, yeah, I've known him for a few years. I go, okay, what does he do? And she couldn't answer the question. So even if you know each other, and that's my thing, if you know people, but you don't know what they do, it's like you don't know them. How do you refer them? How do you help them, you know? So about 4 out of the 15 that were there actually got a good lesson in terms of preparation or in terms of clarity of value proposition, because some of them it's easy. Chiropractor does chiropractic, the air conditioning guy does air conditioning, but the other ones, it just, it's harder to explain. So bottom line is that's part of the value of all of this, is that we understand that everybody has to be able to explain themselves correctly so that other people, that the market will understand you, but also so that you'll do business. And one thing that we have that I think is a little bit different, I'm not sure, is that our leadership is accountable. So for example, I am accountable for making sure that what I say you're going to get as you join, you actually do get. It's not just a matter of me putting together 40 events a month and saying, okay, Chris, you're on your own. I actually do ask the question, are you getting any business? Are things happening for you? Because I know the reason why people quit is that one. Because they don't get any business and they think it's a waste of time, so they leave.
Yeah, and you're correct. A lot of people join chambers and then they join and they expect the people to come in, and that's not necessarily the case. You have to be involved and you have to go. I do a lot of networking, and one of the things people, when they ask me how I do it or how I'm successful at it, is number one is just show up. And you have to be consistent. And if you're consistently going to events, you don't have to go to them all, but consistently go even to the same event. If you pick the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce has lots of events every week. You don't have to go to them all. I can't, but I usually try to pick those same ones and go to every week, and people get to know you, and then you can meet people. I meet a lot of people just for a cup of coffee to see what they do, see how I can help them with doing commercial insurance. I have access to lots of small businesses, and a lot of times I can put my clients in touch with people that I meet and being able to help them. But I do go. It's important to whatever networking group or event or that you're thinking about doing, you have to go, and you have to consistently go. And if you do that, you will start seeing some business come back from it. And then with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, they really do offer a lot more educational opportunities for small businesses than other chambers, because that's who they focus on. And being able to have access to that for a small business may or may not have access to being able to get your 30-second commercial down, which is so important when you're out networking. And a lot of chambers don't have that.
If people try to buy training is expensive too. Now, in showing up, you mentioned showing up as that's number one for sure. But we tell our members 4 things. Number 1, show up. Number 2, bring people. That makes you valuable. When you bring people, it makes you valuable to the whole group. so you become more attractive, you know. Number 3 is help others. Don't show up looking for business. Show up with value, you know, because when you do show up to a chamber or any kind of organization looking for a sale, in general, people hate to be sold. You know?
That's correct. Yeah, if people come into any type of event and just pitch their product, people are immediately tune out,
right.
And
that's
you're not
amazing, though. It amazes me how much of that really happens every time. You know, and I see it almost every day because we have so many events where people will show up. The new people will show up. So you know, we haven't talked to yet. They'll show up and say, "Okay, I have this thing, and I need this." Or they'll come in and say, "I have the latest insurance program." Like they're all kind of the same. I mean, if you're selling commercial insurance, it's pretty much the board. You know, if it's not the same, you can have access. Any good commercial insurance agent has access to what they're selling. You know, in many different ways, you can get the same product. But when they come in trying to reframe what they're selling just because they know that a lot of folks won't buy what they used to sell, that doesn't work. You know, yeah. And I tell people, and I tell this to our members all the time, guys, look at the faces of the people that you're talking to. And when they start tuning you out, they're not going to buy from you. They've stopped listening, you know. And so that was today's exercise. So on Tuesdays, we have a meeting here in the Woodlands. 30 to 40, 50 people sometimes show up to that meeting. So it's a very busy meeting. On Wednesday, which is tomorrow, we have a meeting at a place called Abuelos, which is a Mexican restaurant in Katy. So that meeting, we have about 20 to 30 people that show. It's a little bit smaller than the Woodlands. It's a little bit easier to manage for our members because you can actually make connections and talk to people. But, you know, some people like the bigger meetings. And on Thursdays, we have every Thursday, we have a meeting at Vintage Park. You've been to that one before, Chris.
Yes, I have. Yeah. So that's a growing area. There's not a lot of networking organizations out there, and it would include Tomball, probably all the way down to the Beltway area, up and down 249. So you have a business out there.
Yeah, people all the way from
There's a
Cypress,
good way to get.
You know, from Cypress, from the Woodlands. A lot of people go to that meeting because, like you said, it's hard to network with anyone in that part of town just because something about that area that there's not a lot of networking, you know?
Yeah, I think it's an intersection of a lot of chambers and other networking organizations. Kind of that 249 is almost kind of a border between different organizations, so people don't know which one to join.
There you go. So I'm talking here with Chris Way. Chris Way is with the Cook Insurance Group. He's also a first responder. He's here with his daughter. And when we come back from break, we're going to talk to Chris a lot more about the first responder part of his life. Then we'll talk about insurance. So please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for a bilingual insurance company in the Montgomery County area? Since 2006, the Amell Agency is a family-owned insurance agency, and it all started with Leonard Amell. Now working with 3 full-time agents offering home, auto, life, and umbrella insurance, the Amell Agency works with you to provide the insurance you need. Whether it be for your business or personal needs, they put that need first. The Amell Agency of the Woodlands is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Call today at 832-299-6640 or email them anytime at info@amellagency.com to answer any of your questions. For more information on location and inquiries, look up Amell Agency online at amellagency.com. The Amell Agency, Montgomery County's bilingual insurance agency.
Don't forget to download the Lone Star Community Radio app for your Google Play or Apple Store. Bring Montgomery County's community radio with you anywhere with your smartphone or tablet. If you are in the Conroe area, tune in on FM. That is Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1.
Hey guys, I'm Joey Savage.
Corey DLG.
We are Nerd Thug Radio. Catch us every Monday from 1 to 3 and check out our website, nerdthugradio.com.
We like to talk about quilting, horseback riding, and baking quiche.
Actually, we don't, but we do like talking nerdy to you.
That's right. Every Monday from 1 to 3 p.m., hashtag talking nerdy to you.
This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection Radio Show, Radio 4. Members of the Woodlands-Conroe, actually the Texas Gulf Coast Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for listening. Merry Christmas, and we wish you also a very, very fruitful and prosperous 2018. I'm here with Chris Way. Chris Way is with Cook Insurance Group, with the Cook Insurance Group. And, of course, our good buddy Adam. I was going to call him Adam Cook, of course. What am I saying? Of course, it's Adam Cook. I don't know why I was thinking about a different Adam, but this is Adam. And, Adam, if you're not listening, we know you're not listening, but maybe you'll listen to a recording. We wish you a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. We know that you're off today, so I hope you're well. We're talking to Chris about just networking in general, about some of the things that you do to put your business in the mind of other people, you know, which is the definition of marketing, to make sure that you're in people's mind when they're ready to buy. And you do a lot of networking, Chris. I think you're less prolific now than you were maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I've seen you a little bit less on Facebook and all over the place. Is that the case? Have you?
Yes. With networking, you do want to reprioritize every once in a while. And we've been busy. Obviously, there's almost so much time in the day. And when you get busy, because I've been networking, most of our business is referral business. And once those referrals start to pick up, then sometimes you have to make some difficult decisions and reprioritize some of the networking. And I'm not doing as much, which I always feel frustrated when I can't get out there and network, because that's my pipeline and that's where my business comes from. But sometimes you got to cut back and take care of your clients when we're all about making money.
Yeah.
And if I know I'm going to make money in the office, then that's what I'm going to have to do. And then get out when I can.
Very well put. It's about making money, not necessarily about having a relationship. Relationships of course matter and they are meaningful, but it's much better for you to make some money than it is to go and have a chicken dinner with somebody or a chicken lunch. Yeah. We tell our members this all the time. I was telling that today. I get frustrated as a leader of a group or as leader of a chamber when my members tell me that they're not getting any business and they're networking all the time. And I tell them, you're not really networking. If you're not getting any business, you're not networking. You're basically having a social interaction with people, because networking does require some intention, and there's a process, and you have to do it correctly. There's ways of doing it, So it is likely that if you're not getting any business or if you're not at the level that you want to be, that your networking skills need to be polished up a little bit.
Yeah, you have to network. There's a process to networking. It's a skill, and you have to practice that skill. And one of the things that I do with my networking is if I ever meet anybody that I think I can benefit, not necessarily that can benefit me, I will always try to set up a one-on-one and to get it together for an hour or less and have coffee. And how can I help you to increase your business? And
what do you take them to these coffee places? If Starbucks is $6 a cup.
There's a couple places up here in the Woodlands. We like to go to the Third Generation Coffee is a real nice place over off of Grogan's Mill.
Behind Starbucks.
Behind Starbucks. It's a newer place, but the coffee's really good, and they do have places to sit down and have cups of coffee. You can meet anywhere.
Yeah.
You can somebody's office, and then the coffee shop company on 45 is a good place. But yeah, it could be Denny's, IHOP. I mean, that's not where you meet. It's not that important.
Right.
And you don't even have to have lunch. I mean, you can just have a cup of coffee and get together.
Come on, just try to buy them some food.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you this too. There was a small period of time where I lost my cable. Actually, I lost my internet connection or something in my office. It just wouldn't work, and the people were out there fixing it. So I was going to the coffee shop place for 3 days. It's amazing how many people show up to that place that are either in BNI, in the chamber, or both.
I've gone where I've walked in, and I almost know everybody there, or three-quarters. And not intentionally, I was supposed to meet somebody there, and I walk in, and it's like it takes me 5-10 minutes to get to the table because I'm saying hi to everybody.
And more amazing to me is that they actually let us do what we do there. You know what I mean? It's like walking in and sitting down for an hour in a coffee shop is not at all beneficial to the coffee shop because they don't make any money, But they're very open about letting all these people show up and sit down and sort of hang out. And their prices they're priced well. I mean, they're priced okay for the market. Mm-hmm. It's just, I love that they're very tolerant. They're very patient.
Well, it's exposure for them. I mean, it's long-term, just like as a business owner, with networking, you need to take a long-term view of it.
Sure.
And they take a long-term view. Yeah, they're giving up a seat for a table for an hour or so. They only sell a couple cups of coffee, but those two people are going to like the atmosphere, like the coffee, and come back. But they're going to tell other people to, hey, try the coffee shop.
And what I like about them that they don't have in Starbucks is that every one of the places where you can sit, every booth has a connection. You can connect your telephone or you can connect your computer.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So Starbucks doesn't have that. I've looked because I've gone there with no energy. And you walk in and you plug it in and then you're good to go.
Starbucks doesn't do that, but so the organized places do.
Okay, so all right, so that's one thing for sure. Networking is a big way that you drum up business and everything else. But then we were talking about just the fact that to go out and do business, there is a requirement. I mean, there is sort of a requirement on behalf of your manager, of your leaders, that tell you, okay, Chris, how did it go? What happened? And if you go to your office too many times, scratching your head and saying, well, it was a good lunch, but nothing happened, before you know it, you will have issues. Somebody will say to you, you're not doing your job, even if you think you are by being busy.
Yeah, and you have to go to a one-on-one or a networking event with a goal in mind, whether it's to meet so many people or find people that you can help. Don't necessarily look at who can help me. It's who I can help.
Right.
And when I meet with somebody one-on-one, I'm never looking to get business from them. I want them to have access to my network, and I want access to their network, because that just makes it that much bigger. If I can get access to, or if somebody knows what I do and they may know somebody, I want to know who they know,
Right.
or who may need my product, and vice versa. I may have people in my network that will benefit from their service, or people in my network may know other people in their network,
Right.
and it just kind of geometrically increases.
And the big idea that you're talking about there is just having the foresight, or having the vision, understanding. For example, something that it always gets my attention when we get young people that join the chamber. I don't want to say millennials, because it might be a bad word, but I'm not sure. Nonetheless, younger people, in their 20s and early 30s, and they'll show up and they're whippersnappers, right? I mean, they've got it all down. They know their presentation. They know what they're selling. They're really good. They walk in, they sell maybe one or two, and then they don't come back. Very, very transactional. Very, very driven to let me pitch you my idea. And so all our members are very nice. They're very open, and they'll say yes, but they won't buy, because nobody buys from people that do things like that. We talked about this earlier.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is our age, the digital age, where you do everything online, a lot of stuff online, and that's very transactional. You buy stuff online, and so that's how they were raised, is one click, and it's very transactional.
Sure.
Whereas most long-term business relationships are relationship oriented.
Right.
It's the relationship, the personal relationship is part of it. It needs to be a business professional focused, but being able to help a small business, and it's one of the things we enjoy with what we do. Since we just do commercial insurance, we work strictly with small businesses and helping them grow, sometimes from the very beginning to where they're starting to get big contracts, and helping them meet their contractual obligations is a relationship.
Right.
And I always focus on getting my clients business. I mean, we're invested in their business. If they go out of business, then they don't need insurance. And
Sure.
if they get bigger, they're going to need more insurance. But that's the way it works. It's being able to not only help them grow, and protect them, but help them get access to people that I may know, that may be able to, that know people that know people that know people. I'm to the point where I'm giving out referrals I don't even know about. People that I know say, hey, do you remember talking to this business? And frankly, sometimes I don't, but they're giving them business. And people call me and say, hey, this person gave me a referral for business. And I go, okay, well, that's great. And I can't remember who.
Yeah, I do that all the time too.
I can't remember that I made the connection, and which is great. That's what I'm about, and that's what helps my clients, helps my people in my network to grow.
Right.
And that's I guess the ultimate for somebody that knows that has experience networking.
And that's a big word of advice for the younger folks out there. And I'm stereotyping, or I'm generalizing, but I'm doing it because at least 20 of our members who are of the demographic I just mentioned, early 30s, younger, later 20s, and even mid 20s, will show up very, very transactional, very, very whippersnappery. Like, I got it, I know it. You don't need to tell me anything, and we don't try to tell them anything if they're with that kind of attitude. It's okay. It's great to be confident, but it's bad to be transactional.
Yeah. Well, networking it is a skill, and when I first started networking, I didn't. I needed to learn. Yeah. And there's two things that I always stress about networking. It's a long-term proposition, and it is a skill. And you have to, one of the things I mentioned earlier about being persistent and continuing to show up is it's skill. When I first started with an organization, they said it's going to take a year for it to really start to roll. It takes a year of networking, doing the one-on-ones and meeting with people and giving more than getting.
And that's a big deal, because in our chamber, when people join new, we always have a meeting with them, an orientation, and it's a big. We always set expectations. Just make sure you realize, in an organization like this, or any organization, if you're going to use networking as your primary form of marketing, which there's other forms, but this is when a lot of people think, okay, I'll show up and maybe that'll give me business. The expectation has to be that 3 to 6 months, when you're lucky, or when you have something really good, but 1 year to learn the market, to learn people, to learn how it's done. You have to give it at least a year. That's realistic.
Yeah, definitely. We're to the point where almost all of our business is referral business. Yeah. And one of the reasons I haven't been networking as much is because my referral business has been so good that through my previous networking that, I haven't been able it's a little bit of a vicious cycle where you can't network as much because your networking business is doing so well. But we've been able to get to the point where we haven't been able to withdraw from a lot of buying leads and doing a lot of that. We don't do any advertising. We do some SEO stuff with web.com, but other than that, we don't do any type of advertising.
Save a lot
it's
of money.
all referral business.
I always get a kick out of that when people say, well, I'm brand new, but I don't do advertising. I don't do this, I don't do that. And then I ask them, how's your business doing? Well, we can use a lot more business, and we're really behind because they're not doing the networking. They're not investing, which was something everybody needs to do. We're going to talk a lot more with Chris Way with Cook Insurance. He's talking to us about networking right now, about business, about success, and about how it's done, ladies and gentlemen. So please listen up. We have a little bit more to go. So we'll talk to Chris when we come back. Please stay with us.
Looking for a bilingual insurance company in the Montgomery County area? Since 2006, the Amell Agency is a family-owned insurance agency, and it all started with Leonard Amell. Now working with 3 full-time agents offering home, auto, life, and umbrella insurance, the Amell Agency works with you to provide the insurance you need. Whether it be for your business or personal needs, they put that need first. The Amell Agency of the Woodlands is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Call today at 832-299-6640 or email them anytime at info@amellagency.com to answer any of your questions. For more information on location and inquiries, look up Amell Agency online at amellagency.com. The Amell Agency, Montgomery County's bilingual insurance agency.
Lone Star Community Radio is looking for those who are interested in hosting their own talk show. With monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Hey guys, this is Connor.
This is Dick.
This is Chris.
And we're with the Ticket Stub Podcast every Thursday live at noon on 104.5 and 106.1 FM in the Conroe area. Also, anytime at irlonestar.com. You go to irlonestar.com/TTS. You can find all of our social media.
And don't forget, we give away 2 tickets to the Grand Theater on every show.
If you like movies and you like complaining or celebrating anything that has to do with the silver screen, check out the Ticket Stub Podcast and join us every Thursday at noon o'clock on Lone Star Community Radio.
We're back. This is Dr. Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection Radio Show. Members only. We feature our members because we're a Chamber of Commerce that does that. We look for ways to help our members become the most known business owners in the area, but also the most capable. We've been talking a lot about training and about networking and about different ways that we have that we're going to help our members project their business and make their business a long-term endeavor versus a simple transaction, which is what we've found some people do. The issue with that, though, is that as Chris and I discussed already, folks that are transactional tend to leave the organization very quickly. They make 1 or 2 sales or not, and they don't come back. The problem is that they leave saying this thing doesn't work. And please understand, the fact that you belong to an organization, like I belong to 3 gyms, I'll admit it. It doesn't mean that because I belong to 3 gyms, I'm going to lose weight or I'm going to be in shape. It just means I'm in a list somewhere, Same thing with the Chamber of Commerce. We have about 25 different realtors, for instance. And the realtors that get the most business, as we've said already, are the ones that show up. And then when they show up, they bring value. And the way they bring value, as Chris already explained, is that they actually come in looking for ways to help others. So that's one of the biggest ways you can bring value to the chambers. Come in and talk to us about helping other members and about helping each other. That's number 2, because the first one is come in and invite other people. So you want to bring value to the organization by bringing more opportunity. And that's the way you do it. You invite others. You become a promoter of the organization. And then when you're there to help others. And the third way, of course, is to get involved and do things with the leadership and et cetera, et cetera. So here with Chris, we're talking about his networking and how it's beginning now to pay off after a while. What did you do, Chris, to sustain in the meantime? I mean, I know that there's probably times like any small business owner, what would you say to them if they're at the beginning stages of realizing, I need to get better at networking? What would you say would be a good recommendation? What would they do? What could they do to sustain?
Well, obviously, different organizations, and the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, one of them, is provides training to network, whether it's developing the 30-second commercial or finding your niche. I find a lot of companies are too broad when they talk about their business. Insurance companies are a prime example. A lot of insurance companies, we can do everything.
Yeah.
And you may, and so can we. But we've determined that commercial insurance is a good niche to be in. It requires different levels of expertise and knowledge that's different from personal lines. And so we focused on, about 3 years ago, we focused just strictly on commercial insurance, and that's what we do. There are a lot of great personal lines agents for home and auto that we will be happy to refer you to if that's what you need. But if you need small business insurance, small to medium-sized business insurance, we have the expertise and the knowledge and the carriers to get that for you. And that's what we focus on. All my commercials are commercial insurance.
So basically, you're focused.
Yeah, we haven't. We found a niche, and a lot of small businesses don't. They say we do everything. I hear a lot of insurance agencies. We can do everything.
They list everything.
Yes,
which
and
is worse.
you may, but that doesn't mean you do it well. And if you want to be good, or you want to get that reputation, you have to do one thing and do it well.
Somebody that's doing that I think is brilliant. And by the way, you're right. When you don't have enough business, it's about focus and you focusing directly on what you do best. And a mutual friend of ours, Rick Demko, who focuses only on final wishes insurance and things about life insurance or things about that kind of his agency, and he has a lot of and in the tens or 20s of people that work with him. But him having that focus, he's the only guy I've ever heard in the market say, I do final wishes insurance and I can write a policy for virtually anyone. That is more focused than a lot of the folks. And you're right. I mean, the 25 or whatever, how many amount of insurance agents we have in our chamber, that's the most focused one I've heard,
Yeah, he does final. His commercials and his focus is on final expense insurance, which is a very specific part of the life insurance market. Doesn't mean he can't do other types of insurance. And when he meets with you, he'll talk about the other kinds.
He'll let you know. Yeah.
I refer business to Rick all the time. I can do life insurance, but that's not our focus. So most of the time, I will just refer it over to Rick. And then when Rick has, and this is how the networking and the relationship works. When Rick is talking to somebody about life insurance and they know somebody or they have a small business, he'll ask, do you have business for your insurance for your business? And if they say no, well, then he'll refer it to me. So his commercial is really focused on one small segment of the life insurance market, but that doesn't prevent him, once he meets with somebody, from doing any kind of life insurance. And like I said, he's one of my referrals. I refer him business all the time.
And that's a big deal. If you're listening, there's another piece of advice. So, first get training, get better at networking, but also when you are putting together your commercial, there's ways to put it together. If you're a member of this chamber, I can send you templates that we have and things that we use when we help our members. But focus is very important. We just had a meeting where that was probably the number one issue that I was listening to as we were going around the table. And I can, but I don't always bring it up to tell our members, guys, if you don't focus, people won't buy from you. It's that simple. There's just too much noise in the market. Even hospitals, if they don't focus, it's hard to understand, what kind of value I can actually get from a hospital outside of ER, maybe some of the things. We don't know why we would go to Memorial Hermann versus, St. Luke's. When they focus, though, it's a lot easier to understand. Maybe one has a better pediatrics or better labor and delivery. It's just about how you present what you do to the market. So anyway, that's a big deal. Focus is a big deal. If you're not getting the kind of business you want, that would be another question I would ask you is how focused is your commercial? How focused are you when you explain what you do and sell and so on? But that happens a lot also with the financial advisors and with, like you said, with the insurance folks, and obviously it happens with the realtors, just a lot of folks. So anyway, focus. So let's change that focus for a second. Chris, I wanted to ask you before we spend too much more time about your career as a first responder. A lot of folks don't know this about you, and I think it matters that they do. You were telling me that you worked yesterday, day before yesterday, and so on. So you've been working the past few days.
Yeah, a lot of times we're shorthanded over the holidays for various reasons. And I've been a first responder for a little over 4 years now. I started with Cypress Creek EMS it was a volunteer organization. Since 1975, they've always been a volunteer organization, and they have mostly paid staff now, but they remember their roots and welcome volunteers. And I started about 4 years ago actually with no medical training. You can start out as what's called a non-med driver. I would just drive the ambulance, gave me an excuse to drive down 1960 with lights and sirens on. But I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy working. There's some fantastic people that work there, truly dedicated, that work very hard and obviously help people when they need them the most for whatever emergency. And it's been a really rewarding experience for me. After a while, I decided I wanted to do more, so I became an emergency medical technician, and now I can help patients and help the crews, and it's one of the more rewarding things I've ever done in my life.
Wow. And so how much time do you guys generally spend on a shift? I mean, is it a 12-hour shift?
You can spend with the duty crews, the regular crews, they're 24 on, 72 hours off is their base schedule. And they usually pick up extra shifts to make extra money. But we can work as volunteers, we can work as little or as much as we want to. I usually work 12 to 24-hour shifts depending on my schedule. I usually try to work nights more often, so I'm not missing time with my daughter or obviously my paying job. Yeah. And been working with some fantastic people over the years.
So you're still doing it right now as a volunteer?
Yes. Yeah. I will remain a volunteer. I've been asked, how come I don't go on? And I said, well, I can work with who I want when I want. And it's been, it's a great, fantastic organization. It's one of the more medically advanced EMS organizations in the country. We're one of the few that can actually transfuse blood in the field. Wow. If someone needs it, we can do a blood transfusion in the field.
That's Cypress Creek EMS.
Yes, yeah.
So if someone were interested in getting involved, what do they have to do? Do they just show up? Do you guys have like recruiting fairs, health fairs? How does one get involved?
Well, if you want to be a volunteer, all you got to do is go on to their website. It's ccems.com, and they have a page for volunteers. You can, like I said, you don't have to have any medical training to volunteer. You can be a non-medical driver, or if you have your EMT certification, you can volunteer as an EMT and work on the ambulance. We also have a lot of promotional. We have a bike team that's real popular that goes out for like the Ironman or for various events. We do lots of PR events. I usually do 1 or 2 PR events where we take an ambulance and kind of show it off and show inside the ambulance so people can see.
I just saw you at a elementary school. You were with your daughter, and you guys were driving around the ambulance, wasn't it?
Yes, they have a lot of schools have health fairs, and they want an ambulance and fire truck. Unfortunately, the fire truck is a lot more popular than the ambulance for the kids for obvious reasons, even with my daughter. And she goes with me to help. She likes to do it, likes to show off. She knows where everything is on the ambulance and likes to show other kids where everything is.
Push those buttons for sure.
Yes.
Literally. So we're here with Chris Way. Chris Way is with the Cook Insurance Group, focused on commercial insurance. So if you have a small business, or if you are thinking about growing your business, or if you're thinking about starting a business, for sure insurance is of vital importance. It's one of those things. You need an accountant, maybe you need a lawyer, or some sort of legal plan, and for sure insurance. Don't be without it. You can call 281-417-3000. That's the Cook Insurance Group. When we come back, we'll talk more about the insurance group and about the services you provide, Chris. We'll be right back in just a few minutes, so please stay with us. We'll be right back.
Looking for a bilingual insurance company in the Montgomery County area? Since 2006, the Amell Agency is a family-owned insurance agency, and it all started with Leonard Amell. Now working with 3 full-time agents offering home, auto, life, and umbrella insurance, the Amell Agency works with you to provide the insurance you need. Whether it be for your business or personal needs, they put that need first. The Amell Agency of the Woodlands is open Monday to Friday from 8 to 5. Call today at 832-299-6640 or email them anytime at info@amellagency.com to answer any of your questions. For more information on location and inquiries, look up Amell Agency online at amellagency.com. The Amell Agency, Montgomery County's bilingual insurance agency.
Listen in Mondays at noon to hear Conroe news from local nonprofits, businesses, upcoming events, Conroe Park events, news stories, and information that matters to you with your host, Margie Taylor of Taylorized PR. For more information about being a guest, visit irlonestar.com/Conroe Culture.
Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's radio station with talk, music, weather, and traffic for Montgomery County. Have a question or comment about one of our shows? Just contact the station on irlonestar.com or call in and leave a message at 936-647-3776. Get involved with your community with Lone Star Community Radio.
We're back We're back with Dr. Carlos Sanchez with the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. Thank you very much for listening. You've listened to, I'm not sure how many programs now, but a good 30 shows that we've done. And your feedback has always been very positive, and I really appreciate everything you've said and all the emails that you've sent and all the wonderful feedback. Like I said, this program is designed for, and we look for ways to help our members not only project their business as best they can, but also say some things about themselves that make them interesting, memorable. And certainly we have a person here today who's very memorable, very interesting. There are several ways in which you should look at Chris Way. For sure, obviously when you see him, buy him lunch, because as a first responder, I think they respond very well to food, for sure. But and thank him by all means. But outside of that as well, ask him about his expertise as a networker, because I know for a fact that of the people I know, the top 3 networkers I know here in the Woodlands area, he's one of them for sure. And you have a technique, Chris. Share that with us. What is your system when let's say, for instance, you go to an event tonight, there's 30 people there, and you're there to network, and you only know half of those people.
Well, I try to obviously meet people I haven't met before and try to determine, obviously what their business is and where else they network, and see how I can help them. If I think I can provide them access to someone or even another networking group, another business that I know, I will always attempt to do a one-on-one with. I don't care where I met you. If I think I can help you, obviously help your business or give you access to people who can give you access to other markets, I will always attempt to do a one-on-one. I don't care if it's another insurance agency. I refer business to other insurance agencies all the time. I can't be and don't want to be everything to everybody. Right. It's not, you can't have the level of expertise or experience that you really want to have to everything to everybody. Right. And so if I think I can help you, help your business, I will do a one-on-one and get more specific on what you do and what kind of client you're looking for, but what other type of people that I can put you in front of that's going to give you access to other people.
So first is your mindset. You walk in saying, I'm going to help you. That's part of your technique. What else do you do? Then you set up a one-on-one, you have coffee.
Yes. And then obviously you want to develop a relationship, and insurance is insurance. And you mentioned before, and there's hundreds of insurance agencies around. But how we differentiate ourselves is we want to help your business grow. We just don't want to sell you insurance.
And something else then, Chris. About 70% of all of our members are women. We're a very female type of organization. Well, obviously because women tend to be more social, and men don't need the networking thing. They already know everything.
Yes.
So what do you recommend that women do that might be a little bit intimidating for them to call you or call someone else and say, hey, let's have coffee? Is there a special recommendation that you might have for the female part of our chamber? Maybe the pre-establishment of this is a business transaction thing, or what would you recommend women do?
Well, I do. When I meet somebody, I will always follow up with an email and keep it very professional. And then, would you like to get together for a cup of coffee, wherever? But again, the email thanking, or I enjoyed meeting you, and I think I can help you. Do you have some time to meet for coffee? But always keeping it professional. And keep the meeting professional, maybe even not talk about personal stuff as much and more about a business relationship, and keep it professional. And I'm always focused on how can I help you versus what you can do for me. Right. I never go into any type of networking event or one-on-one with trying to get business from that.
So you don't travel with your brochure in your hand.
I don't travel with anything.
We have
a pad of paper.
And I tell our members, guys, come on, what are you doing? Because they'll go to things that are not even networking events and try to sell. I'll see them with their iPads all open and them giving a presentation, and I'm telling they just met this person, and I'll be like, that's probably step 5, and you haven't even gone through step 1 and 2, and you're already in the relationship aspect of this when you haven't built the relationship yet.
Yeah, if I meet somebody wherever at any type of networking event, if they're going to pitch me, then chances I'm not even going to make I'm going to take their business card and say, nice to meet you, and I'm going to move on to somebody else, and I'm not going to make an effort to meet with them or see what I can do for their business. If all they care about is themselves, then they're not helping themselves, and they're not going to help me.
So that takes the pressure off you then a little bit. I mean, you don't have to show up to these meetings with that intention of sales in mind. You're with the intention of, I got some cards, some connections who I can help. So the pressure is more on you to help others versus on you to sell.
That's correct. And with networking, you're going to get lots of business cards, and you have to filter those. It's not, somebody told me or taught me a long time ago, you don't have to network with every single person you meet. Just like you won't be able to do business with everybody you meet. And with insurance, yes, I could do insurance for everybody, but I don't need to, and I don't want to, because they're not necessarily focused on what we need to do. But if all they care about is themselves, then I'm not going to, obviously they're probably not going to be around for very long, because it's not going to work. And being able to help other businesses or being able to filter through the business cards you get on the networking. And like I said, somebody taught me a while ago, you don't have to network with every single person you meet.
So how do you get people to come visit you? I mean, let's just say in that case, if it were the case with you, obviously it's not, because you go out and talk to people. And as an insurance company, people don't necessarily go to your office. But let's say, for instance, you have a storefront and you want people to come to your storefront and you're networking to get people to come to your storefront. That's obviously about you when you show up to invite people. So how do you get people to come to you?
Well, we do have a storefront, or we have an office, but most of the time I make the effort we can meet someone else.
At least that's what I know.
It's a neutral ground, and it's a neutral ground. But if you have a storefront and need people you need the traffic, having meeting there is a great way to get people into your business. Have events there is another thing that you can have. They don't have to be big events. You get 5 people that haven't been in there before. That's 5 people you didn't have access to.
Chamber ladies, some people with Araceli Shaw, who was our member of the year, just did a little event like that where it was supposed to be like a wine thing, and all over Facebook, like 6 or 7 of them, And that's right. I mean, it wasn't big. It met the need that the chamber member had, and Araceli was able to show off her business, and other people really enjoyed that time. So you're right. It doesn't have to be a big thing. So designing events, doing things that are fun for people, are very helpful for creating traffic.
Or doing joint events. I know some organizations will have a storefront, and then there's other businesses that are kind of close to what they do or work well together. Health and wellness is a big example of that. There are storefronts with health and wellness, but there's other organizations that don't necessarily have storefronts, but the type of client that they're all looking for can be similar.
Sure.
And they can do joint events where it's at their storefront, but there's other organizations that could benefit from that, and they do so they can draw from all their networks to get the events bigger. And even if some of the items or some of the whatever they offer, there's a little bit of an overlap. And one of the things I do with networking, the pie is big enough for everybody.
And that's important to understand.
And a lot of small businesses don't realize that. They don't want to, I might have to give up this little piece and give up the bigger part.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because as a Chamber of Commerce, and I know that a lot of organizations, and you said it right on the head, Chris, I don't intend as a Chamber President to have everybody be a member of my organization. I'm not for everybody, and I get that, and I honor that, no problem. But the people that do join our Chamber, we do have a code of conduct. And among our business best practices are the statutes that say you must be willing to allow yourself to be, not in competition, but in company of others that do what you do. And if you try to either intimidate or look for ways to outperform by way of getting in people's way and things like that, that is grounds from a memo or will let you know that you're not following the best practices, the business practices. And that happens to people who think that the pie is very small, that there are limited amounts of people who can buy from them. They're not mining their transactions. They're basically in there for a transaction. So they're hoping they get business from you, but they don't care that you know people. So they don't ask you about those people. They just want you to buy their thing.
Yeah, and that's a very short term. And you may have some short term gain, but over the long haul, it's not going to work. It's not sustainable.
You get a reputation.
Yeah, and then people don't want to do business with you. I refer more business to other insurance agencies. My biggest referral sources are other insurance agencies, because I know what we do well at. We do very well at commercial insurance. I have some great insurance agencies that do home and auto. Right. We talked about Rick.
So tell us who you are and what you do one more time, Chris, if you don't mind. Just basically your name and your company name.
My name is Chris Way. We're with the Cook Insurance Group. We are in the Woodlands over off of Sawdust. Our phone number is 281-417-3000, and our website is kochig.com.
So go ahead and do it one more time, please.
Okay, Cook Insurance Group. We are off of 2219 Sawdust, real close to the Hispanic Chamber offices, and our phone number is 281-417-3000, and our webpage is kochig.com. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, all the social media sites.
Very good. So that's Cook Insurance. That's Chris Way.
KOCH.
All right. So this is the Hispanic Chamber Connection radio show. I've been talking to Chris Way. And if you have any kind of insurance questions, especially business insurance or small commercial insurance, please call 281-417-3000. Thanks again for being on the program, Chris.
Thank you. Enjoyed it.
And hope you have a great Christmas. Hope you have a great New Year. And this is Dr. Carlos Sanchez signing off. We'll be back next week with Gloria Marquez. And we'll talk to you then. And until then, have a great week. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you for checking out this production of Lone Star Community Radio. Lone Star Community Radio is Montgomery County's community radio station. Don't forget to check out this show and many others across the Lone Star Community Radio Network, either live on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, the Lone Star Internet Radio app, or irlonestar.com's live audio stream, and on replay on podcast, Channel 12's Our City TV in Conroe, or Channel 21 KVQT in Houston, and of course their YouTube channel. This production is copyrighted and all rights are reserved by Lone Star Community Radio. Have a question regarding this program or other Lone Star Community Radio shows? Want to sponsor or start your own show? Call the station message line at 936-647-3776 or email the station at lscrstudios@gmail.com.